Hello everybody, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and I'm your chef on a mission. Today's mission, I'm calling out a big place that has like 6 locations. Let's talk about the worst of food fraud. Decicco's Market, based in Westchester County, New York, just north of New York City. Let's take a look at what kind of beef they're really selling. So if you head over to their website and you take a look, they have this thing on their website that says, our beef offerings include all natural beef raised at Pineland Farms, local, grass-fed, and USDA or USDA Prime. Now that's, I'm not sure if they're saying here that the Pineland Farms is all of that, because Pineland Farms does have prime beef. It could be local. It might be grass-fed according to their definitions. And then it says we also carry beef from Strauss Farms. Strauss beef is raised for free-raised and grass-fed by family farmers that avoids use of antibiotics and hormones. So they're clearly talking about 2 separate farms here, Pineland Farms and Strauss Farms. Now I called the stores, and those are the 2 beefs they have, Pineland and Strauss. They really didn't talk about any other beef when I asked about beef in the natural realm of things. Those are the beefs that they have. So now I know, because I bought Pineland beef before. Nothing bad about Pineland beef at all, folks. It's a great company. They do 500 head a week, up to 500 head a week. A lot of those do go to Whole Foods. You look on their website and it says they're from Maine. Well, their beef's not really from Maine. They might have some production in Maine, but they're not really from Maine. They go as far as Ohio to Maine and then down south a bit. So when people say that they're buying this local Maine-raised beef, that's not the case at all. A lot of the concentration is from Vermont, Maine, over into New York and into Pennsylvania. Had a great conversation with them, and I would buy their beef again for certain applications, not at my restaurant, but for other things that I do, and I have bought it. So I'm not knocking Pineland beef here. You go on the Pineland's website, not once on their website do they mention grass-fed. Zip, zero, zilch. The deal is with them is they contract with family farms, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, their specs. They buy the cattle from them, they stick them into a feedlot, they fatten them up, and then they market them as Pineland beef. Now, they own one of the feedlots, I believe. That might be the one in Maine. I was told by Pineland directly that the other feedlots they actually lease out, they contract out, they lease the feedlots. They don't own the feedlots, they lease them out. I'm not sure how that lease is set up. If they're saying, hey guys, here's 20 cattle that need to be fattened up, keep these 20 cattle for us for the next 6 months and do your thing with them, and then we'll take possession of them. They process from several different processing plants. They don't process just in Maine. They might have started in Maine. They might have been referred to as Wolf Neck Farms years ago, Pineland Farms, but they process all over the Northeast. They have several processing plants. Now, when they sell to Whole Foods insists that the processing plant be a certain radius, a certain distance from that store. So I'm not sure if it's 100 miles, 200 miles, I'm not sure what it is. So when you have Whole Foods in Philadelphia, they can only use a processing plant within a certain diameter. When they have a Whole Foods in Albany, New York, it's a certain diameter. Philadelphia and Albany, New York, Whole Foods buying Pineland beef will have to use theoretically, they'll have to use 2 separate processing plants that are equidistant or not equidistant, but sort of in a realm of closeness, proximity to those 2 stores. New York City, same thing. So, Pineland Farms does not come from one farm, does not come from one processing plant. It does come from a consolidated feedlot that they may or may not own. The beef is hormone-free, antibiotic-free. They do about 500 head a week. Whole Foods is their biggest customer. Decicco's buys a lot as well. Decicco's is really stocking up on their beef. Decicco's has put a lot into their beef. So now, we go to Decicco's website. Because let's roll some footage to there. Let me get over there. Pineland. Let's start this recording. Where are you? Okay, start recording. Now, recently, I'm not sure how recent, but you go on their website, Decicco and Sons, our trip to Pineland Farms. And you see here, you got the Decicco family. The Decicco family and our butchers recently took a trip to Pineland Farms in Gloucester, Maine. Pineland Farm cows are free-raised and grass-fed by family farms who avoid the use of antibiotics and hormones. We believe in supporting local and family farmers and in the ethical and humane treatment of animals, which is why we carry their line of natural beef in our stores. You can see some pictures from our trip below. There they are, the Deciccos again, Joe Jr., Joe Sr., and John Decicco. There's their staff with them, the butchers. Here they are on the farm again, from left to right. There's the grass-fed, supposedly grass-fed beef. Those are grazing cattle out there right now. Those are indeed looking like they're on very picturesque Maine countryside, right? So they took a trip to Pineland. I'm not sure if they asked the same questions I asked Pineland when I called them, because I got different answers. So now they're saying that, okay, our beef is grass-fed. Here's our trip to Pineland. Pineland is grass-fed. So now, I know they're not grass-fed. You know they're not grass-fed, because I've told you they're going to consolidated feedlots and they get finished out and grain-fed and fattened up. I decided to go on the website and call every Decicco's market, okay, is what I did. I called every market, asked for the butcher shop. Now, I got to tell you, a lot of those places gave me very, very quick answers. They seemed extremely knowledgeable. If you were a customer walking in there, you would totally believe these guys because how quick and knowledgeable. So good job on the staff there. Now, did each store pass the test of if they were grass-fed versus grain-fed? Because they're not grain-fed. The Decicco family says they're grass-fed on the website. Their current flyer that's out there says it's local beef. So here's the questions I asked every single butcher. Is the beef grass-fed? Most stores said no, it's finished on grain. 2 stores, however, told me, one store told me that they can't call it grass-fed because it's milk-fed. Milk-fed and grass-finished was the exact description they told me. I said milk-fed and grass-finished. I said, that's kind of grass-fed. He goes, well, no, it doesn't eat all grass. It starts with milk. It's milk-fed and then grass-finished, so it can't be called grass-fed is what he told me. I'm like, oh, milk-fed beef. That's a new thing, and very confident about that. The Pelham store, which I believe is their flagship stores where their headquarters are, they really couldn't answer that many questions. And he had no idea, and he just kept reading. And this was the butcher I spoke to, and he just kept reading the label. I said, but is it grass-fed? I want to know if the beef is grass-fed, because your website says it's grass-fed. It's a picture of you guys at the farm. And he basically said, well, maybe it is grass-fed. Yeah, maybe grass-fed. So 2 out of the stores failed the test. The other stores did a good job and told me that it is indeed finished with grain. Now, here's the test, the second test I asked them. I asked them 2 more questions, 2 main questions. I said, is the beef local? I said, where's the beef from, and is it local? They said yes. Every place said yes, it's local, and it's from Maine. One place said Massachusetts. I'm assuming they assumed that Maine, Massachusetts, close proximity to each other, and just got confused. They all said yes, it comes from Maine, / one store said Massachusetts. Now, Pineland covers beef farms from Ohio to Maine and down south. They have several different processing plants. The beef that comes to New York, on the New York market, through the 2 distributors that I know that have it. And I asked this very specific question to Pineland. Now again, no beef against Pineland. Pineland's a good company, okay? But when you're going to represent them as something that they're not, that's when we have problems with this. And I told the Pineland rep, I said, a lot of people say you're grass-fed, and there's places around here. Woody's All Natural in Cornwall has been saying for years, it's on their menu now, grass-fed. Now they say grass-fed grain-finished because I complained to them enough. But you call them, oh yeah, our beef's grass-fed, and it's from a local farm, and it's from, it's not from that one local farm in Maine. Maine's not that local either. I just bought tomatoes from Maine the other day, and I tried to get the second local tomato to me. Yeah, it's an 8-hour drive or something to get to this farm in Maine. It's not quite that local. I could be in Virginia at the same time, Southern Virginia. So if you consider Southern Virginia local beef, you might consider this Vermont farm local too. Now they could be way up in Vermont. I'm not 100% sure. So now the question is, the next question on my test here was, does the beef go in consolidated? Does it go into a feedlot? Does it go into a consolidated feedlot? Every single store told me no. The beef does not go in consolidated feedlots. It basically stays out on pasture. I got different answers like that. It stays out on the farm. It stays out on the pasture. So as a rundown here, Decicco's, you're on there with your owners saying this is grass-fed beef. Your website says it's grass-fed beef in that run-on sentence. So it kind of insinuates that that's based upon that brand, and your next bolder brand is Strauss. So I showed in the picture. It's not really local. 8 hours might not be that local. Maybe it's a 6-hour trip. Maybe it's a 9-hour trip to Maine. I'm not sure. All the beef does not come from there. The beef that I was told when I called Pineland, I said, if I were to buy from the 2 distributors in New York City, Baldor and Chef's Warehouse are the 2 distributors that have their ground beef. I said, if I were to buy that tomorrow and all year long from those 2 distributors, where is that beef coming from? He goes, Marcus, it's coming from Pennsylvania. It's raised in Pennsylvania, finished in Pennsylvania, and it's processed in Pennsylvania. So yeah, now they can bring that from other farms, maybe in Virginia and Ohio, and bring it to Pennsylvania and finish it there. He goes, but that stuff is from the Pennsylvania processing plant. It's from a Pennsylvania feedlot, Pennsylvania processing plant, and that's the bottom line with that. So is Decicco's buying stuff really from that one smaller farm in Maine? Now, keep in mind, they do 500 head a week. 400 of them or so go to Whole Foods. There's only another 75 out there. They don't quite do 100 head a week. Sometimes do 75, sometimes do 125, depending upon time of year. So is that all that little bit of beef that's left out there on the market, is that all coming from Maine? Or is it coming through their distribution channels through the New York market, where Decicco's is located, and is it coming from Pennsylvania or another processing plant altogether? Now, I feel that Decicco's failed the test here. They passed it on a certain level, but I feel they failed it on another level. If you were a customer that wanted to eat truly local food, where is that coming from? I don't think they have a true answer and grasp on that. I may be totally wrong. Maybe they have a deal with Decicco and Pineland, and maybe they're buying directly from the farm, and maybe it's coming 100% from Maine, but I don't think that farm in Maine can produce enough based upon what the numbers are indicating here. New York City being their largest market for most producers, and if the beef's already coming from Pennsylvania, they wouldn't be shipping down special beef for Decicco's, is my thought process, from Maine. So from Ohio to Maine, that's where the beef is from. Again, no beef, pun intended, with Pineland Beef. They have a great product. It's a smaller label, but it is a commodity natural product, okay? It is a commodity natural product. It goes through feedlots and this and that. And Decicco's, was very quick to answer these questions. And good job not misleading on grass-fed, except that one milk-fed, and your Pelham store didn't really have an answer. Like I said, Pelham was up in the air on that, and they just kept reading the label. I'm like, I just want to know if it's grass-fed or not. Your website says it's grass-fed. And he was like, oh, maybe grass-fed, maybe not. And I don't know what he was saying. But milk-fed and grass-finished, the one store. Ouch, 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 ouch. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano, and I'm holding these people accountable, because somebody needs to hold these people accountable for misleading menus. And no harm against Decicco here. They just need to understand and be able to convey where their products are coming from. And maybe Pineland duped him. Maybe Pineland said, oh, here's our farm, come visit our farm, and this is it, and picturesque. And maybe the Decicco staff didn't ask enough questions like, do you have other processing plants? Do you have other farms? How far is the other farm away from here? Does it go in consolidated feedlots? For me as a chef, these are all questions I ask. And that's part of being a qualified chef, is understanding how your food is made, where your food comes from, and the different processing techniques. And if you don't know all that, you're not as great a chef as you think you are. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.